Welcome to the world where we teach you real English in an easy and fun way. This is the second in a series of videos where we're going to explore all the tenses in English. Do you know how many there are? Write it in the comments and let's see who gets it right. It might seem a lot to learn all the English tenses in the English language. But actually, it's not as difficult as it seems. Follow our videos and you will walk away with a much better understanding of English grammar. We're going to give you lots of examples so that you can learn them and use them yourself. Before we start, we kindly ask you to click on the subscribe button so you never miss out on our valuable content and our channel can continue growing. Your support means the world to us. Thank you. Okay, so let's start. In this video, we're going to look at all the past tenses in English. Do you know how many there are? Can you name them? Did you say 4? Yes, exactly right. It's actually not so important to know the names of the tenses, but how to use them properly. Anyway, if you do know the names of the tenses, it's easier to understand their use, and seeing them all together can make them easier to learn and remember. We have the past simple, you drove a sports car. The past continuous, you were driving a sports car. The past perfect, you had driven a sports car. And the past perfect continuous, you had been driving a sports car. So enough daydreaming about you driving fast cars in the past, and let's get down to learning these tenses. We'll look at the structure, use, and some useful tips on when and how to use each tense. So let's start with the past simple, which is actually quite easy. It is the second most common tense that English speakers use. So, the structure, like its name, is simple. It is subject plus regular verb plus ed. However, lots and lots of verbs in English are irregular, and this means you do not need to add ed at the end of the verb. For example, the verb go becomes went, or the verb buy becomes bought. But the good news is that irregular verbs are the ones we use a lot. So actually, it's easier to remember them. You can find lots of lists and games online that you can use to learn them by heart. But the best way is to listen and to use them as much as possible. We use the past simple to talk about completed actions in the past and to describe actions that occurred at a specific time in the past. So actions that happened and that are finished. Here are some examples. She visited Paris last summer. This describes an action that occurred at a specific time in the past. Another example is they finished the race. Use this to talk about completed actions in the past. A useful tip to remember is to look for signal words or phrases that often accompany this tense. For example, yesterday, last year. Now let's look at the past continuous. This is used to talk about actions or states happening at a specific moment in the past. The structure of the past continuous is subject plus was or were plus verb plus ing. For example, I was reading a book, or he was eating a delicious pizza. One way in which we use the past continuous is to say what was happening at a specific moment in the past. Here is an example. I was recording a voiceover last night, or she was preparing lunch at 12 o'clock yesterday. We can also use the past continuous to give background information about a situation. An example is, I was recording a voiceover while the neighbor was playing his guitar. We also use the past continuous to say that an ongoing action was interrupted by another action. In this case, it's usually paired with another clause in the past simple. So here is a classic example. I was having a shower when the phone rang, or the phone rang while I was having a shower. So I was having a shower over a period of time, so we use the past continuous, and then the phone rang, so here we use the past simple. So we're finished with the past continuous, and now we can move on to the past perfect. This is used to talk about an event that occurs before another event. The structure of the past perfect is subject plus had plus the past participle. As I said before, it is used to talk about an event that occurs before another event in the past. Here is an example. The film had already started when we arrived at the cinema. Here is another example. John was very happy because he had just received good news. Just, already, and yet are signal words or phrases that often accompany this tense. Let's move on to the last of the pasts, the past perfect continuous. The structure of this tense is subject plus had been plus verb plus ing. We use the past perfect continuous to talk about an action in the past that continued for a period of time before something else happened. For example, we had been playing tennis for about half an hour when it started to rain heavily. Now this tense could easily be confused with the past continuous because actually these two tenses are often used interchangeably by native English speakers. Let's look at these two examples. My husband had worked there for 3 years when the company closed. This is past perfect. It is used to describe an action completed before another past action or at a specific point in the past. My husband had been working there for 3 years when the company closed. This is past perfect continuous, and this is used to describe an ongoing action leading up to another past action or point in the past. They are, of course, both correct, and the meaning is pretty much the same. It actually all depends on what you want to focus on. Okay, we made it through the past tenses. It was easy, wasn't it? And that's it for today's video. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you learned something useful. Watch out for our next videos on future and conditional tenses. Remember, mastering a language is all about practice and perseverance. So keep watching, keep practicing, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how we grow as learners. And remember, as we say in English, practice makes perfect. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and we hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching.